Do you think that Gambit outdrafted EG?
Yeah, I think so.
And if EG wins here, it'll be just they outskilled them.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I mean,
we'll
not necessarily the better draft doesn't always win.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you have the element of. That's why I don't love predictions, because and Gambit's gonna in fact go for the smoke, but
how many times have we seen the same smoke? And how many times have we seen teams countering that same smoke by sitting on that same high ground area?
Yeah.
Feels like this is a meta that developed behind the scenes, and we're only seeing the end game of it, you know? Where I can see how that smoke works, if somebody's not on the high ground and they're doing that thing where they sit on the high ground near the bounty rune at top, and then all of a sudden these heroes sweep in from behind. Oh, God. You get first blooded. Both bounties are guaranteed to the enemy team at that point. We are going to be having an S4 Pudge, which is kind of where I thought we were leading when I saw the Pango Pudge duo.
Yeah.
We've seen a small amount of Pudge in pro games in the offlane position. I feel like we've seen a lot of it in pubs. A lot of people are experimenting with this Pudge as a core. Feels like it's not quite a mid laner, but it is definitely strong enough to be a core, and it fits into the 3 position nicely. But where is S4 going? He's going to swap up the lanes. They don't want to have the PA against the Nyx Darkseer duo.
That sort of makes sense. And plus, like, the PA, you get a level of blur, and the evasion is very good against Ursa, I think, to start.
But we have already the switch up from Gambit, where Dahak is already moving up to the top lane. And he's actually going to be there before the Pudge, so now maybe S4 is going to be like, oh, crap. He actually killed an Observer Ward on the high ground there. And realizing that he's been spotted, and I think they also saw the Ursa, he's going to start heading back down to bottom lane.
Oh, man.
So we're going to have the musical chairs where the cores are going to get super underleveled, and the supports are just reaping it in. We've got Zai Pango at bottom, who's just pretty much becoming a core in his laning phase as he's just chilling out.
I think this DP has to do a lot of work for this game to be like in a good recoverable position.
Yeah. So a lot of this is going to be on S4, bottom lane. Crit trying to jump onto FNG as finally Arteezy shows that he did make the rotation back down here to bottom lane. And the Darkseer is now almost here. This is the matchup the Gambit definitely wants because they've got an Ursa versus Pudge. That's great. And they've got this Darkseer duo into the PA. Healing Sound being used on both sides to mail. How does the laning phase go for this matchup?
For what?
For Death
Storm
Prophet
versus DP?
Storm, yeah.
I think DP does fine.
Okay.
Because you can just force out the lane against Storm. Like any of those 2-for-1 heroes, and what I mean by that is like when you're able to both harass and get last hits on heroes, I think they're very good against Storm as a whole. Because you have to think about him more or less as like a melee hero. You know, he sits in the creep wave. Cast Remnant has to be relatively close to the creep wave to do so. So like every time you do that, you're going to tank some harass.
Yeah.
To be able to like trade that out.
And then on top of that, you've got Spirit Siphon, which is also a really good ability versus some of these melee heroes.
Let me just say that spell does not do as much damage though.
Oh, is it used to? Yeah. Remember the first time I played, we were at the BTS house?
Yeah.
And I played you in that matchup? I remember like some pro player tweeted at me and they were like, oh, you dumbstream blitz at mid. But this is before anybody knew that Death Prophet was OP as a mid laner. Death Prophet going to be pulled back here into the Remnant. The Fairy Fire, not quite enough to keep Sumail alive here. He's definitely dying. Just slightly delayed by the disarm from Crit. First blood goes to FNG.
And that's a lot of damage now. And this is partially like with the buff to Storm. It's like a really weird buff that people don't really think about it, but it makes it so that you can skill that ability without it hurting you in the laning phase.
Yeah.
The pull. Before in the past, it was like a net negative almost to even have it. But now it's like it allows you to have kill potential, which is huge. Whereas like before, it felt almost impossible to gank for this hero, right?
It was like kind of unheard of to see Storm Spirits ever solo kill mid laners, and now we see it oftentimes all the time. As top lane, we're going to see the power of that Ursa versus any kind of melee hero, and that is S4 dying. But at the same time, they also kill Immersion, so a bit of a trade-off here.
hit. Can't really survive up against that. And that's why they wanted the Pudge up there, because his natural regen is very good against Darkseer's chip.
Yeah.
But he's not so good in this lane, where, you know, he gets hit a bunch. He doesn't have any armor. That also really hurts him against probably two of the better right-clickers in the game too, right?
Yeah.
Shaman is also very, very good. Being able to get into the right-click wars as Crit. I think I jumped on, but not a hard commitment here as Immersion's just trying to harass him up as Crit.
Are going to go for the kill here on Phone. It looks like he knew he was dead.
That's pretty big. Getting soloed like that after you were given the lead.
Yeah.
Just meant that he was very greedy. Could have just waited for the 5-minute.
Yeah. Could have played it a little bit safer. Would have had that level 6 coming in soon. Then his lane is pretty free.
Yeah.
2-2 right now. 5-minute bounties are coming up. Crit's going to try and sneak one away from Gambit. Does manage to get ahead of old Afterlife there. Afterlife does have his Soul Ring, so prepare for some real good Ion Shell spam. The creep wave isn't here yet, so Arteezy, as long as they body block him, they're going to get a lot of Ion Shell damage. Not enough to kill, unless Emergent wants to go for the dive here, but thinks better of it with the TP coming in from Crit, who quickly cancels it to stay on top of the Shrine. Nice snag there from S4 in top lane, but the threat of the Ursa is enough to keep them from trying to go for the kill.
And this is just a really tough lane, I think, for Pudge to be able to get kills in at least. CS-wise, he's actually doing relatively well. Like, much more reasonable than you would expect. As the Storm does hit level 6 now, should end any sort of gank attempts on him. Yeah. I mean, I think it's always a really nice Storm game when the forward position doesn't counter you. I think that's really what scares me the most. Is like, if there's a forward position that has like some sort of like hard lockdown or way to jump on you instantly, then it's a bother, because then you have a lot more to worry about. Also, like, any instant stuns or initiations are obviously going to be an issue. Yeah. So, like, Pudge always feels reasonably okay. You don't love playing against PA.
How soon do you build BKB in this matchup, where it's just the silence? I guess there's the Dismember to be a little bit worried about, but mostly the silence, right?
I mean, Dismember goes through BKB anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could just reasonably get away with going for Eul Scepter.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Crit's going to make the rotation up to kill FNG. I just don't think that Storm ever feels good about rushing BKB, like first item BKB or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Minimum, you want some sort of mana item before you're looking in that direction anyways.
Do you still like Kaya or Bloodstone? Like I was seeing all the these early Kayas and these mid-game Storms.
I still think Kaya's quite good.
Yeah.
It makes it so that all of your mid-game builds are viable.
Yeah.
This Crit gonna run into Immersion, who pops the
kind of whiffs there. Does manage to get the lucky shot to slow down the Snake's assassin, but FNG was right behind him, so that is going to be Crit unknowingly stepping into a nasty little trap there by Gambit. Oh, Arteezy actually getting aggressive here on Afterlife, who's going to throw down another Ion Shell on the creep wave to keep the PA back. Yeah, this PA is not under-farmed against the Darkseer.
No, I think once you give her any sort of lead and she gets 1 plus Ring of Health, this is the thing about Darkseers. He's always going to get his, but so will the enemy carry. Because you push the lane into the tower, and as long as he has an adequate amount of regen to tank like a few seconds of the Ion Shell up, like, he's fine.
Yeah.
You don't feel bad about it.
As long as you're not losing like the first 4 minutes against Darkseer or something, you just kind of got to like shore up the laning phase initially, and then that carry, whatever it is, will get strong enough to tank creeps and deal with the Ion Shell. Afo needs a pause here while he's farming up his medium camp, which he stacked for himself, is soon to be level 8. Double Null Talisman and soon Power Treads as well.
What do you think is the most annoying emote? The Mosquito Buzz or the Kookaburra laugh?
I honestly haven't heard a whole lot of either one of them.
That is going to be a kill on Immersion, potentially.
Ooh, crit gets a little bit low. Immersion finally is going to tick out from S4, running him down, but now he's going to be shackled up, and Hawk gets his opportunity to start laying up those Fury swipes. Don't let him get the Rot tonight. They do not.
They might even go for more here as... Oh.
Yeah, thinking about it, does manage to get the Hex.
1 second.
1 second for the shackles, and Crit has no way to stop this, so he's just going to have to watch his captain die. 2-for-1 exchange here in the top lane.
Creeps managed to mop that one up, but still a nice little move by Gambit.
Trading around some bottles. Getting the full refill. Hey, I haven't heard a whole lot of the Kookaburra laugh at all, actually. What's your favorite chat wheel right now? Because I'll tell you.
The Korean Roshan announcer thing is pretty cool.
Oh, that one is so good. That and the, you know what's cooking. I see a lot of pros like that one. They like spamming that.
I don't know. I get some measure of I think it's really cool because I'm Korean. You know, I see that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty dope.
Silence onto the Ursa, not able to get off the Enrage. Is going to be grabbed here by S4. Can they burst him down? But he does manage to get the Enrage off. Now just body block him. Crit, look at that. Just back and forth, staying in front of the Ursa long enough that the Enrage eventually fades out here. But trap, though. They're going to try and blow him out, but the hook back is going to be there to save him. Good play from S4. That 10-minute bounty rune coming up. Great, make sure to grab it, and it does look like 2 for 2.
Whenever people bottle them, that's when it really throws you off, right? Because 3 people bottled.
Yeah, you see a bunch of extra bounty messages. I hope, fortunately, we've got JJ and Layerth here to be able to help us out with that.
Otherwise, I would have just Gambit just got 6 bounty runes.
I do hope Valve puts in some sort of just 2 little brownie rune signals on both sides next to the team logos or something.
Just a quality of life
says no. Don't do that. Layerth number 1. 5-5, 10 minutes in. Pretty even game so far. Do you feel like the laning phase was supposed to go to the favor of one team or another?
I thought it would go in favor of Gambit.
Yeah.
Personally, especially after that mid kill.
Yeah.
That's where he's got Rot on him. He should die here pretty easily.
As long as he doesn't Rot tonight. And that's why Immersion was holding on to a mana burn for that extra bit of burst damage.
They had to pop both ults on him, but...
Oh, there's something that we haven't talked about yet, but this is a big nerf to Darkseer, who's such a Helmet Dominator hero, no longer being able to grab the siege creeps. Coming in from behind, Samael and Fly. A lot of damage over time. He's going to try and surge himself away. Breaks the Spirit Siphon as the surge fades away. He gets into the trees. They're really going to try and chase him into that one. Look at that, eating through the trees. Still gets hit by the Crypt Swarm, but maybe they don't know where he is just yet. Burrows a little bit deeper, goes for the TP out. Samael has a nuke up, but he's not going to find.
Very well done.
The Darkseer in time. Very well done.
Oh, that was so well done.
By old Coolidge.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That was such a sick juke.
That was really well played.
That's going to buy Gambit quite a bit of time to get some really aggressive vision down on the map.
Warlock's biggest winners. Oh, wrong. I haven't heard that name in a while. Fly at number 2 there with, is that 41 games of Warlock played? Wow. The Ion Shell, Nyx Assassin with Vendetta.
Wonder if Fly's wondering where his health's going.
Well, he's going to find out real quick as Immersion pops out as soon as Fly's low enough. Thanks in part to the the Helmadom Golem helping to set up the stun. Affo, level 11 now. He's had a bit of a quiet early game here. He's just been farming non-stop and doing a really good job of it. The fact he's level 11 at 12.5 minutes in.
He is going for Yules, by the way.
Yeah.
Like we talked about.
Yeah.
Trust me, as a Storm player, it's do you really want to go for second item BKB in this game? No. Get a Yules. Nice
deny from S4. He's got to be careful not to die here in mid lane. Immersion's going to be in trouble. Turns around, gets off the good impale, but Fly has a couple more shots. Plus, there is Crit committing pretty heavily here with a Rolling Thunder. Surrounding this tier 1 tower area, they do not have Death Prophet with the Exes. Now they're going to be able to grab him with the Serpent Wards laid out. Samael trying to get some damage out, but exits the Serpent Wards pretty quickly. Good play from EG, really fast response, killing the Serpent Wards for him. so that way Sumail can easily escape.
Yeah, and on top of that, just the immediate rock response.
Yeah.
Sumail goes for the silence above all else. Makes it so that the Storm has to disengage.
You know, the phase boots changed. That was something that we talked at length about, how it's a big buff for certain heroes like Doom, who makes use of the movement speed, but the armor change for phase boots, really valuable for Doom, has low armor. Death Prophet wasn't in the meta at that time, but Death Prophet is another hero that makes good use of the movement speed, and having an armor build up is really nice for this hero. We're going to see the advantage of that, especially against the Serpent Ward traps that are potentially laid out. Bottom lane, S4 dies, but we're going to watch FNG probably die here to the swashbuckle. Runs through him. Captain of Gambit falls, and Evil Geniuses start lining up for a push on the mid-tier 1 towers. The Golem is still hanging out. And Gambit doesn't look like they're going to have a response, as nobody's TPing just yet.
They really want it. They should be... They should want to defend this mid tower, I think.
They've got the heroes to do it too, right? Darkseer stands in front of any of these pushes and becomes a lot harder to accomplish.
I guess not, though, and that's going to free up the EG game to be able to play aggressively on the map. They did lose their 2 side lane towers, which maybe makes it so that Gamit feels a little bit better about that loss.
Yeah.
But nothing doing right now is Immersion just going to run forward with the creep, backing him up as Arteezy's going to get netted up. And the immediate
jump in. They have the Rolling Thunder coming in for the backside, but they're trying to burst down Arteezy first. Finally, he pops out from his fade and will be able to get the kill. Looks like the Rolling Thunder, he just focused on the bounty runes instead, gets one of them.
See ya.
But I believe Gambit still got 2 for 2.
Yeah, they're going to
as well as the kill on the tier 2.
And I like this, like their lineup being able to push towers after. I felt like that was a little bit of a weakness of Secret's lineup in both game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just being able to go for that after the fact is
nice
does
dodge of the Impale.
Little side swipe as S4 is walking in, does get the bite off. This should lead to a kill.
Immersion gets dismembered, and the rest of Gambit, we're cutting in from the side here.
They want
with
the creep.
Smoke up, and they will be able to get the Helmet Dom creep. That's an extra 200 gold for S4. Meteor Hammer almost up for the Nyx Assassin. Pretty much one of the only heroes that can go Meteor Hammer as a non-meme item. As the Impale just lines up so perfectly, the stun duration with the Meteor Hammer channel duration. FNG, Afterlife, and AFO all sitting here in the side waiting. They're always pushing out this bottom lane, and they know somebody's got to bite, somebody's got to push this out. But Evil Geniuses do have a lot of heroes behind Arteezy. Can they save him in time? though? They cannot. The silence doesn't come out fast enough. The Rolling Thunder on through. They're going to have to make this trade-off worth it for them. As Meteor, he's going to be dropped here. FNG easily gets cleaned up. They're trying to keep Sumail alive, vacuum him back into the Serpent Wards, but he's still not dead. In fact, he's going to stay alive long enough that AFO has to give up as he was running low on mana, has to jump himself away. Hook, nice grab there from S4. That's going to be the Ursa who gets picked off as well. Yes, they do manage to kill that PA fast enough that ADG could not respond very quickly, but as you can see, Arteezy thought that was a perfectly fine trade, 1 for 3.
That was just like a odd situation because Arteezy was like, oh, I'll just go back here again. At the very least, like maybe the trade-off is like you lose 3, but you slightly tilt. Because let me say, the worst feeling in the world as a player is dying back-to-back, especially in the same spot. Because you tell yourself the second time, you're like, I should have known better.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, his team was so fast to respond that the trade was relatively okay.
Yeah. I mean, if that silence happens maybe half a second faster, then maybe the PA is able to get out as multiple heroes silenced there by Sumail. They are unable to kill Fly.
Like I will say, by the way,
PA. Oh, that's the Helmet Dom creep.
It's 200 gold. But a Roshan, they're just going to walk in here. And EG, what's your response right now? Because they don't have the Rock, they don't have the DP ults.
And they don't have the hook as it's only level 1, so it's on cooldown for a while. Actually, Crit here's going to be pulled in. Nice vacuum into the wall as well. That's going to make things really tough for EG to fight. Even as they buy back on Crit, they're going to be able to catch Afterlife, but the rest of Gambit has made it pretty clean out.
Fly with the triple kill. All right. As Sumail now does have the Aghanim Scepter. The Ghosts are out to play.
Yeah. This is probably one of the biggest like core Aghanim Scepter changes. was brought into the game. So we're going to see that one again. I mean, the big cores of Evil Geniuses were really just too far away to actually fight this as Roshan fell.
Going for the Arcane Rune actually got him killed. If he doesn't go for that, he can just make his way to the left and he's probably fine.
Yeah. Eul Scepter complete for the Storm Spirits. As
Look at that
Sumail
tower.
tries to use his Aghanim Scepter. And it's, I mean, this is actually, I didn't really think about the aspect of being able to push towers without using your Exorcism, but that is kind of an interesting note.
The ghost sounds so weird.
All of Gambit wrapping in from the side here. Immersion getting behind Sumail. The rest of Evil Genius is sitting on the side. They spot crit first. That's a good team fight hero to be able to take away right away. Now if they can burst the death bomb, it'll be even better. It looks like they've got it. Dead to rights. Now Evil Genius is on the full retreat here. Fly's going to go for the TP out. S4 won't be as lucky though, as he's going to be the third hero left behind. EG lose 3. They get the tower, but ultimately, not sure if that exchange is going to be worth it for them, especially with the dominating kill streak from Sumail being ended.
Storm is so good against DP because, like, in a vacuum, of course DP sounds very good against Storm, but Storm can always start the fight onto the Death Prophet, whereas, like, the reverse isn't true, right?
Yeah. I'm just laughing at that sound effect.
Oh,
so
when it
slow
slows
things down.
Yeah.
We've got the Ursa. 20-minute bounty runes. And Gambit going to be able to pick up 3. They actually have 4 on the table. They just have... Yeah, that's a big win. Big win.
So they are going to get some big items on the side of EG that might swing things around. Like, they do have a Midas on Fly, if I recall.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. He's building into Ags as his second item.
He's quite farmed himself. It's like the double rock plus, like, the suicide rock could be how you turn things around a little bit.
The double rock is better for controlling heroes like Storm with the back-to-back stuns. It looks like Crit does have a swashbuckle, but is going to
narrow miss on the
land
hook.
back down. Apho's actually out of mana here. They're going to drop the golems to be able to catch 3 with a decent Fatal Bonds, but thanks to Surge.
That's what had that hook
haste
too.
But
that was a very nice dodge from Apho.
yeah.
And they don't really have a response. I mean, Silence sounds nice, but you know, if the Storm always jumps first like that, it's so hard to just actually get him in the air.
Right.
They don't really have that instant, like, go, aside from maybe the rock.
Mm-hmm. It's going to pick up the Ghost Scepter. That'll help against some of the burst of Storm and all of the burst of the Ursa, but there is still a decent amount that comes from the supports as well. The Nyx Assassin and Shadow Shaman.
Oh, for sure. I just like, I think that Gambit's lineup synergizes really well.
Yeah.
Like, they have heroes that just back up each other, lots of team fight, lots of catch. I mean, all of their heroes are, like, artificially quick too with the, they've got Blinks, they've got the Vendetta, they have Surge.
Yeah.
Like, they have ways to make their, like, all their spells make it so that the ways to get to the backline are really easy. Like, the follow-up is so quick on the side of Gambit. So if EG begins to lose a fight, like, there's no way for you really to get out of it.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, like, the 4th creep that he said. Can we see the stat? You got that?
For Helmet Dominator deaths?
Okay.
We do not.
I think that was the 4th one. It was the 3rd or the 4th. Because
We
we
asked
saw
so much
S4
from
Hook
JJ.
2, and then we saw that one up at top. That's 600 gold, man.
Yeah.
You could be up 2k gold. As
Well,
Fly,
certain sacrifices have to be made, such as Fly here, who's going to die. Oh, no, he's not going to live, right? Apple is fully committed all of his mana for this. And he realizes real quick, I cannot overextend myself right now. And instead, it's going to be Immersion who's caught. S4, okay, vacuum into 3 with the wall with the Surfer Wards as well. Crit's going to try and jump his way out of this one with Shield Crash and roll away, but they're leaving behind Sumail, who's Ghost Sceptered up. He's keeping himself alive against Ursa for now, but eventually will run out.
They're going to
S4
go.
trying to go for the save with a hook, but now he's going to be run down with the Ursa, and Sumail, or excuse me, Fly is potentially in trouble as Apho zips on top of him. That is what we're talking about. The catch, the mobility that they have when they break a team fight, when they break Evil Geniuses, they're always able to get +1, +2 extra hero kills.
it's just a really cool strat, and it comes down to the fact that their lineup, I think, is just well balanced.
Yeah.
Like, they have good catch, they have good team fight, they've got good scale. It's like a well-constructed lineup, I think. Not to say that I think this game is over by a long shot, But at least in this mid game, we can see like the sheer strength of Gambit's lineup.
Yeah.
It's the ability to just like follow up one hero after another. If Avo has like 20% more mana, he probably kills crit there too.
Yeah. So you jump back from the replay into real time here, where the game is approaching the 24-minute marker. It's 18-15 with a 3,000 net worth lead for Gambit. What point are we talking about high ground here? Obviously, that's always going to be based around Roshan. Is it the next Rosh?
I think with the next Rosh, you want to at least like look for fights.
Yeah.
And you just, the best part about having Darkseer in your lineup like this is that the lanes are always going to be dealt with.
Sure.
Meaning that if you do win a team fight, you're always getting an objective as a result for the most part.
Yeah.
That fight was a little bit odd because they had to, they had to use most of their mana and abilities just to get up there and win that fight. Like they're consistently using FNG's Shaman wards, not to push towers, but just to win fights.
Yeah.
Like getting them around Sumail, making the fight a little bit more chaotic.
It's kind of interesting as for not really completing either one of the big team fight items just yet. Has a Helm and a Vanguard, but doesn't have the Pipe or Crimson Guard to help out his team. Once they get those items, as well as the Guardian Greaves, they'll probably reach another peak where that much team fight sustain will help Sumail out a lot.
Sumail needs a Yule Scepter really bad. He needs a disengage item right now from the Storm.
Do you think he got the he got pulled in by the Siren Song of Aghanims? He got pulled in by this new item. He's like, "Ooh, I really want this." And now his delayed Yules is
I think Ags is still really good because it allows you to farm really quick, and it probably allows you to, like, without popping your ulti, just like take towers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like he also needs a BKB at some point, but then you're gonna be in a situation where you have like Ghost Scepter, Yules, BKB.
Yeah.
And you're trying to scale late game against a Storm. That probably doesn't feel that amazing, as even without the Aegis, they're just going to go for it here.
Back in, see if they can burst him out with a BKB in range, and they've almost got him, and he does eventually die here. He does have a buyback if he wants to. Crit is rolling around with his Rolling Thunder, getting good amount of control, but no follow-up. S4 tried to go for the hook there. Not sure if it was intended to grab
Rock
crit.
is dead too.
If they can
they
deal
can
with
just
the
go back
Serpent
in.
Wards.
They've got to be careful on the side of EG. There's a lot of follow-up here.
They're trying to go on to S4. S4 presents himself as the tankiest target for them to go on, and sure enough, it is kind of hard to burst him down right now, even with Serpent Wards doing so much damage. Nice pull-in from the hook, but this is an opportunity for Afo trying to go for the back line with a beautiful vacuum into wall situation here where Fly is in big trouble. Crit is trying to help out with a buyback, though, coming up from Sumail. They want to be able to catch these heroes, punish them with this buyback, get as many kills as possible. FNG barely managed to get away with the teleport ahead of the Dismember. It's going to be Darkseer who's in trouble right now as he's completely lucky shot it up, slowed down enough. He won't be able to get the surge away, which he gave to the Ursa to get out. Fortunately, no critical kills for EG on the side of Gamit. In fact, maybe I spoke too soon, though. Apo trying to commit to go for the kill onto Crit here.
Crit's
Might be able to get it, but he's going to die in exchange for that. Surely that wasn't worth it. That was a beyond godlike spree. 935 gold you just gave to Arteezy.
That was pretty much like a BKB and a half. Okay. If he doesn't go for that, that's still, I think, an overall win for Gambit. They forced the buyback on the DP.
I was just about to say, you lost the Darkseer, but you didn't lose the Ursa, you didn't lose the Storm.
Yeah, those are the heroes that like critically need to continue to scale. And the worst case scenario is giving that kill to the PA, and she pretty much got solo XP and gold for that because Crit dies first.
Yeah.
That's like the absolute worst case of how that goes.
Also, this is something that Perch and I were talking about behind the scene. These streaks can really play against you, not just in the gold, but experience as well now with that change-up where there's a lot more experience on kill streaks, both at minimum and maximum. You're giving a lot of experience away. That's a level 20 PA. Level 25 is not that far around the corner.
Game is still okay, though, because most of it will come around this Roshan fight.
Yeah.
Like, if they can take a good Roshan fight, then you can reset the game for yourself. But the inverse is true as well, as EG's just going to rush in here. They've got a Deso on their PA. They're going to pop the DPLT2. 2 seconds left for their Storm to respawn, but it might not be enough time here.
It's happening so quickly, and look at Crit. He's going to pop the Rolling Thunder as soon as Roshan's about to die, and he's just going to bounce around, making sure that the Storm Spirit can't jump in and find anything. Now he's going to roll on out, intercept some of the Gambit heroes who do manage to get a good vacuum wall with the Serpent Wards out as well. They're trying to finish off Sumail, but again, that Ghost Scepter delaying so much. The Exorcism is allowing Sumail to be able to get away here. Afo, a little bit low on mana. Arteezy with his full BKB activated, just goes for the kill into the Nyx Assassin. That's a double kill for him. If he wants to, he can go for the Shrine area, but instead he's going to go for Afo, who's going to be forced to use more of his mana just to be able to run away from Arteezy right now, completely negating the opportunity. Oh!
He
Mama me, that was a big crit. He had so much mana. Afo did not expect that.
That was funny. You just,
He could have just made the long jump away.
Let me just say, as every Storm in the world, just like, even if he's just going back to base, you just hate being forced to use all your mana there. But yeah, you know, in hindsight,
dude, that's twice now. That's twice now. That Afo, I mean, like going for the kill on crit, good kill here on fly from Dahak, and there is going to be Arteezy coming in, so they got to get out. Immediately pops his his BKB TP out here. Crit's gonna roll on through. Does manage to catch the Shadow Shaman, who's been surged. Maybe he can get out with the Ghost Scepter as well.
It's a nice move.
Doc is going to come back into this one. Maybe they think they can actually fight this one, but Arteezy is going to be targeted here. Shackles, oh, intercepted with the hook there. BKB activated by Dahak, and look at that Nyx assassin. These crits. Nobody can stand up to this PA once she pops the BKB.
They might be able to go high ground now, too, in a second. They've got to be careful here. You can't just throw away heroes like this.
Yeah, the Exorcism.
Right in front of the base, too, but with Storm up and all 3 cores, it looks like EG is content to just take that tower, get a few kills, reset the fight for themselves.
30-minute bounties, all the control that Evil Geniuses has bought themselves after winning fight after fight. And okay, you grab the Storm Spirit, you pull them into the other bounty rune, and now there's the Centaur on top of you. That wasn't the dream for S4. He was thinking about 4 bounty runes. Instead, he only gets 2 for his team. See that fight again is it's pretty much just a crit montage here. It's Arteezy. Once he pops the BKB and starts critting things, everyone has to run away. (22-23), Evil Geniuses have wrestled control back in this game. Not a large net worth lead. Do you think that their lineup, I look at it, they have to close out the game before Storm gets too big. Would I be wrong in looking at it that way?
I think PA is very good against Storm.
Okay.
Like, classically, I probably should have brought this up earlier, but I think that Storm, especially in this meta, because you don't want to go MKB, right?
Yeah.
So you go Bloodthorn. But by going for Bloodthorn, if she BKBs, like, you just die. And she has a high amount of, like, physical burst, so even getting a BKB yourself doesn't necessarily save.
Right.
Like, you need to get 3 different items, I think, to counter her, to feel comfortable, right? You need to get Shivas for the armor.
Right.
You need some sort of defensive item against her if she goes for Abyssal. And then on top of that, like, you need a way to actually deal damage to her.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's like one of those carries that you don't really think about that's annoying, but like all evasion-based heroes are sort of annoying for Storm to play against.
It's like the same issue that Sumail had when it came to his items as well. You're saying, like, you basically want like 3 or 4 items, and that kind of sucks when you're forced into that situation.
Yeah, but Sumail feels fine because like, if he soaks up that much attention in the team fights, I don't think he necessarily cares that much.
He's not the true carry, right? Arteezy is. Whereas with our Storm, Storm is our hardest carry.
It feels like Fly's is like the hard carry.
That's not too many times we say that, but the fight position of Evil Geniuses now has an Aghanim Scepter. 17,000 damage dealt?
Yeah, that's what I meant, dude.
Jesus.
I could tell.
I thought that was hyperbole.
No,
that
I thought
you were
he was
giving me,
legit.
but that's just Fatal Bonds?
No, yeah, I could tell that he was doing the most damage in the fight. There was a time period where, like, Afo was starting to just use Yules to get rid of the Fatal Bonds, and then he died because of it, I think, and I was like, ugh. Fly casually with the second lowest net worth doing the most damage. That's value.
Is the new Fatal Bonds, is it better than the old? No. I actually did not do the math on this, so maybe Kevin will help us out.
NA Math XD.
NA Math.
And now there is an Ag Scepter on the Warlock. His crit is trailing Dahak.
4-man smoke up. They see him. They want him. Will they get him? As he does have Blink BKB. Immediately Blink Yules from Sumail. He's going to pop his BKB. He can't TP out because of the Dismember. They're just going to grab him here. The BKB is going to wear out eventually, and that's where the Rolling Thunder will provide the disables.
Sumail's going to get the kill streak for that as the immediate smoke. They want to continue to try to play fast. get stuff going on the map, as Sumail's not going to go for Hex, which will be your Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
He's got Blink Hex. That is a very good way to deal with Storm Spirit.
And with the Abyssal Blade that is imminent on the PA, you know that's going to happen eventually. You're going to want Lincolns real badly. Speaking of the PA, she is level 25, so we have the triple stifling dagger.
Looking like Gambit out there. The X-Men. Not that now I realize, like...
I was like, what?
I realize now how confusing that could potentially be. As I realized. That one's on me, guys.
I was like, is Gambit known for going the stifling dagger talent? Like,
No,
doesn't everybody do that?
Trust me, I just made that unnecessarily weird. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I said a crit montage, and then I thought about it, and I was like, that just sounds like I'm talking about the support player of Evil Geniuses and not
Radiant's
Critical
bottom
Strike.
tower is under attack.
Player and team names sometimes are hard. That's what we're saying. A 6,000 net worth lead for Evil Geniuses. They've just taken a tier 3, which means a ton of map control if they finish up these shrines. Gambit will be left with 0 buildings outside of their base to be able to play around tier immersion. Coming in, a run into Hawk, going straight for S4. Immediately tries to take him down with his BKB, but he's so damn tanky at the same time with the gold being dropped. Seriously stalling things up, and eventually S4 does die here with the Rolling Thunder coming out. Hawk not going to make it out. He tried to go for the enraged TP, but dies immediately. His early use of the BKB comes back to bite him, and now Immersion's going to die as well. Evil Geniuses well set up on the high ground here. Forced Gambit into an awkward situation as they try and force the fight.
Yeah, now they're right in front of their base too. The timing couldn't be better for EG as the buyback comes in on the Nyx Assassin. And they got to do something about this because they will take towers very quickly with this double rock. As the zip in, try to deal with the creep wave. There are still 2
Pulls
catapults
back
alive.
the siege creeps. They're going to be able to get the silence on him. Lucky shot there, slowing him down as well. Yule Scepter used on the Death Prophet instead of Self. But we look back to the buildings and they're already gone. With no Ursa, they can't really defend this. And they know that too. Immersion, I was going to say he was lucky that there was no critical strikes there, but the very last one from the dagger is enough to finish him off. And now with the Exorcism coming out, they are going to go straight for the tier 4s, ignoring the side
The
lanes.
Storm can like proc and prod, but he doesn't actually represent that big of a threat quite yet.
The Shivas, self-fuels. Can S4 actually get the Dismember off of the Abyssal Blade? They aren't going to be able to lock down this Storm Spirit. No buyback from him as the Ursa comes up and it's finally up. There is no fight really to be had unless they get a really good backing wall. The Rolling Thunder bouncing around here trying to slow down this Ursa, and it does. Ursa's just not able to finish up Arteezy like he had planned. The Satanic heals Arteezy back up the full, and Evil Geniuses, who may have been outdrafted in this game and were looking a little bit rough there in the mid-game, make a very swift comeback and just turn into a dominant force, quickly ending the game.
Really feel like Gambit could have won this one. This is a game where I think you feel a little bit bad about losing. Like,
the Storm Spirit giving away beyond godlike.
Just to kill crit.
Just to kill crits.
And then when he didn't zip away, if he doesn't die there, like that death led to EG taking Roche. And then immediately 2 lost fights in a row after that. Like they actually lost like 3 fights in a row because of that. And then the game just sort of ended. And you have to just be cleaner than that because he was playing a very good Storm until that point. But he has to realize, like, Storm, Quap, all those heroes, like, they can't afford to die because their heroes rely on that momentum to be able to snowball.
Gambit, not going to feel great about that one. Evil Geniuses, definitely some relief and some grins spreading over their faces. They probably know they're a bit fortunate to walk away with a such a quick win at that. That is game 1. We'll see what happens in game 2, but first, the panel.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, gents. Another victory for Evil Geniuses. I wonder what our panel made of that one.
I think what Blitz just pretty much said kind of covered the point I was going to make. So he's kind of stole that one from me.
You don't want to say anything?
No, I just want to sit here and stand here in deep thought.
Stand here in deep thought.
That was literally the point when T was like, "What is he doing?" Because
what's happened?
It was pretty throwy. I think Gambit, like we were saying, they had a nice job, made sense, it worked, and then You
It
just
fell
take
apart.
one bad decision, and I think that's the difference a lot of the times between the really good teams and the teams that are at a tournament, but without being top tier, you know.
We talk a lot about mistakes on these panels and about how crucial they can be, and sometimes about how many mistakes the team make. And as Ted rightly said, it's separates the two. The good teams and the great teams make fewer mistakes.
There's a clear disparity between the tier 1 teams, if you're calling them tier 1, and obviously tier 2 teams. It's like, if there was any other team in that position where they made that play, they'd have probably sat back a bit, reset, then they've gone Roshan with the Ursa, taken away the Aegis from the buyback Death Prophet, and then they play out the next like 5-10 minutes knowing that if they pick off this one hero, they're probably not going to be able to come back and win the game. So it's kind of, that's the key difference. And I think maybe they were overconfident, like taking this, like having this momentum, going, oh guys, we might actually win this game. We're playing well. Look at our draft.
Do you think it was an element of cockiness that they were like, guys, we're doing great. And they played with maybe too much freedom. That you need that discipline.
There is sometimes like when you have this like aggressive mentality that you want to have it 100% the entire time. You want to go, let's go. But sometimes you do need to kind of reel that in a bit. And I think in this very small situation where it was actually a very drastic situation actually, when the Storm jumps in, picks up a pan and go whoop-de-woo, what's that going to do in the game? You're now dead, and the kind of game's somewhat over. So, and then again later on when he gets crit like 1500 and just gets blown up out. So yeah, I think if Gamit is able to look at this game and go, actually guys, this was ours. Like, we lost this game.
Right.
EG didn't win it per se. We lost it just through our discipline. If they can realize that, and in the next 10-15 minutes kind of regroup and go, we're good. We're not bad.
Yeah.
We qualified. No, actually no, we didn't. VP got
don't go down that road.
No, yeah, it's gonna go. Okay, well,
Ted, how was your pudge, Ted?
Like I said, it's a BKB piercing stun. It's really big.
They
have a target like that.
Was it an enjoyable pudge game for you?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like watching S4 at his best, where you just think, oh my god. I mean, there were some decent hooks, but he is a really useful hero, and I think sometimes people see him as kind of a joke pudge, but he's not. It's good.
He's legit.
His early
his
hooks were pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah.
The early game, he was like always hooking out Sumail, because he's like, you're Sumail, mate, you've been a little bit aggressive there.
Yeah.
You don't need to go for that bounty rune. Come back here, buddy.
It's a big save.
Yeah, let me just reel you back a
potential,
bit. Come back, come on. They're the aggressive team. They're going to make mistakes. You come back here. And I guess it worked. So,
yeah, they won. I was right. Carry on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, if we took anything from that game, it was that Ted was right. Pudge is good, and Pudge wins games, or maybe not. Anyway, it is EG that took the opening game in this one. We're headed to a break right now. Plenty to think about as far as the Gambit boys are concerned, but FNG, he's been here before. He knows how to come back, and we'll see whether they can do that very shortly.